The U.S. Navy made it clear they wanted everyone to see what they said were Iranian weapons meant for Houthi fighters in Yemen and seized from the stateless Dow. They now say they've taken the more than 1 million rounds of ammunition found on it and sent it to Ukraine. The White House and State Department repeatedly pressed on whether they have the legal right to do that.
The Secretary of Defense is authorized, with the concurrence of the Secretary of State, to make available to the government of Ukraine weapons and other defense articles from the United States and other sources. This obviously is one of those other sources.
Under U.S. law, but some are questioning if this violates UN agreements or international law.
Let's just put it this way, given the fact that the Houthis are not technically a state, there is a rightful case to be made for the confiscation of these weapons.
This has also seized thousands of Iranian guns, almost 200 rocket launchers, and dozens of guided missiles. It's not confirmed, but those are likely headed to Ukraine soon. The Pentagon says it still has about $5 billion it can use to send weapons to Ukraine, but U.S. President Joe Biden is asking Congress for $24 billion. The majority of people in Congress say they want to see that aid sent, but it could come down to just one job: who becomes the Speaker of the House of Representatives. One of the candidates so far, Jim Jordan, says he is against any additional aid and he would control what bills go to the floor. The other, Representative Steve Scalise, says he is in favor of more aid to Ukraine. So you can imagine capitals all over the world are going to be watching to see who wins the Speaker's gavel. Patty Culhane, Al Jazeera, Washington.
Let's get more on this. We can speak to Volodymyr Omelyan. He joins us now from Kyiv. He's an air defense captain in the Ukrainian army, who was earlier the country's infrastructure minister. So much for your time, sir. So the U.S. is handing over to you 1 million rounds of ammunition. How compatible is this going to be with Ukraine's weaponry?
Thank you for having me. Definitely, we are very grateful to our allies, namely United States, who supports Ukraine in this brutal and bloody war, which Russia started in 2014 and doubled their efforts in 2022. We believe that it's a very historical and symbolical act of transferring confiscated arms by U.S. Navy from Iran to Ukraine. And we hope that it's the only start of the beginning of the situation, because in Ukraine, we well know that Russia gets a lot of weapons from Iran and keeps on doing that.
Right. But in terms of the usefulness of this ammunition, I mean, how long, for example, would 1 million rounds last on the battlefield?
It will definitely not improve the battle situation. We are still desperately waiting for F-16s, Atacams, and another mid-range and long-range missiles coming from Germany. This what can change the scope of the battle. But in case of 1.1 million, 7.62, definitely it's one of the most needed on the battlefield for our infantry, and it will help a lot.
The U.S. also confiscated from Iran guns, rocket launchers. No confirmation yet that these will go to Ukraine, but if they do, I mean, how useful would they be, and how could you implement them?
We hope that we will get them, and to those voices which underline that it could be some kind of breakage of international law or regulations, I would simply remind that Iran and Russia did it first, breaking all international standards and norms by attacking others and supplying weapons to terrorists. Concerning further supplies, I still believe this particular war is a transfer from the traditional war of 20th century into a new type of war of 21st century. So only high-tech and innovations could lead the battle and could make success story on the battlefield.
Yes,
therefore, we still hope that in line with supplies of Soviet types of ammo, we will get more sophisticated Western ammunition from our allies.
Right, I absolutely understand that you desperately want more long-range weapons and air defense systems and so on. Those are the top of your list. But recently, I wonder what you make of comments by NATO members who say that Ukraine's Western allies are fast running out of weapons to supply to Ukraine. How concerned are you by those comments?
Definitely we do take it serious, but I would refer to the last year situation and also in the mid-year of 2023 when we already heard those voices that some Western allies are out of stock. And then we got new supplies. I hope that production of new weapons will be duplicated and massively spread in Western society. The need is obvious for all of us. Stocks are out. We have to produce new and more. This is the only secure thing in the world, that democracy should and be able to defend itself.